Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Star Wars Union, the podcast. I am your host number one, Alex. That's host number two, Jarrett.
I'm Jarrett.
Yes, and welcome to episode 2 of our fantastic podcast, where we speak about general theories on the Star Wars universe and what ifs and that kind of thing. But
Literally
first,
Star Wars we talk about.
First, Jarrett, take it away.
Okay, so today's episode, we have a sponsor, which is weird because I never thought it would happen, especially this quick. But it is. So, Future Me, take it away. Hey guys, Future Me here. It's been a while. I know this episode's kind of late coming out, but I'm here to talk to you guys about today's sponsor, Anchor.fm. I'm guessing most of you have probably never heard of Anchor.fm. It's what I use to distribute the audio version of our podcast. And it is, it's an amazing app. I used it for a school project once, and that's what pretty much brought its attention to me. So, if you haven't heard about it, it's free. There's creator tools in it that make everything super seamless, super easy. It automatically distributes to every major podcast source. So, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, if you name it, if you can listen to podcasts on it, it'll automatically distribute it for you there. And the reason why we have sponsorship so quick is because of Anchor. And it's amazing. So it's literally everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. And back to past me. Okay, now we're back. Thank you, Future Me. I appreciate it. All right, so topics for today.
Basically just talking about general theories on general what ifs in Star Wars. And you and I were discussing a little bit earlier about, is the Empire really evil?
Like, actually, is it evil, or is just the head of it evil? Like, the head of a snake.
Exactly.
You know?
What if they were actually evil? That's what we'll start with.
I like where this is going already.
Now, you have Emperor Palpatine.
Right.
So he's the guy behind all of it. He's the main evil in the Empire.
100%.
But he let the Empire kind of run by itself in a small sense. He had higher ups do that kind of stuff. Yeah, he used officers and that kind of thing were used more or less for how the Empire ran. He was basically a little barrier between yes and no. But then there's people like Thrawn, for instance.
Yeah.
That's a little bit different. Thrawn was a very interesting character. Some people would say he's evil. Some people would say he's not. Especially,
I think he's more chaotic than he is evil.
Exactly.
I think he was just doing what he thought was best for the Empire.
Exactly. He studied enemies. He did everything he could to understand the enemy.
Thrawn, sorry to interrupt you. If you have not read the Thrawn Ascendancy series yet, the first book is out. Go read it. I've read it. I got it for Christmas. It's amazing. I'm not going to spoil it because there's just so much into it. It's basically Thrawn's backstory from being in the Ascendancy and in the Chaos to how he got out. So, anyways, sorry about that. Continue.
Yeah. And then you have Vader. He was just a mediator and everything. Mm-hmm. He would go somewhere or people would contact him about questions or words are hard.
Yes, words are hard.
Questions or requests.
Right.
That kind of thing. Like, for instance, or he even called them to make sure anything happened, like anything bad didn't happen. Like, for instance, look at Captain Nita. He's dead now.
Yeah. Wasn't it Admiral Nita?
It started Captain, then it went to Admiral because former Admiral died.
Right, because he force choked him.
Yes,
because they
but
came out of hyperspace too close.
yeah. And when he kills Nita, he says, "Apology accepted, Captain Nita." So anyway, that's off topic.
My bad.
Vader was somewhat the justice of the
Like
Empire.
RoboCop,
Yeah,
which is funny because
he
prosthetic
made
limbs.
everything is prosthetic except head, torso, and most of one leg.
Well, didn't his legs get cut off pretty much at the knees?
Yeah,
So,
but if you look at some drawings, it's one leg is longer than the other and that kind of stuff. But anyway.
I'll look in my trusty.
Oh yes.
My Vader.
Yes. Book. Yes.
I'll look. I'll find it for you. I like
Heck
how
yeah.
it's on hand.
Oh, for all viewers of the video, please don't mind me eating throughout this episode.
Yeah, he's hungry and he gets angry and it's bad. Or is that me? No, that's me. I get angry.
That's you.
So it's gonna be
Fine.
here. So, anyways,
Yeah.
while I'm looking through this,
Yeah. If they were actually evil, they would have taken the rebellion into a heavier account.
oh, 100%.
Because the Empire in the beginning had a great intention to unify the galaxy and that kind of stuff. But that came across wrong with their intentions, like subjugated planets or even colonizing on planets that have never been touched. That kind of thing, that kind of deal. That came across as evil to the rebellion because evil is all dependent on a point of view or perspective. So if you're on the opposite end of the empire, you'll probably see it as bad or evil, whatever you want to see it as. If you're on the same side as the empire, you're working for something good in your view at first. As it started moving along, moving towards like the end of the Battle of Endor, that started to change a whole lot of the empire, like loyalists to the empire started changing their opinions on the empire. Like, because look at Iden Versio, a very recent but important figure in the Star Wars universe. Her ideals went from "this is great, the Empire is wonderful" to as soon as the second Death Star detonated, that's when you start seeing a change. And that started the end of
from BF2, right? The campaign.
Yeah, Battlefront 2. She's the main character you play as. Yeah. You do play as a few heroes here and there, but otherwise. But yeah,
I just want to make sure I have the right.
Yeah. It's like I said, it's all dependent on your point of view, your perspective, and the time.
Like another good example I feel like would be Jyn Erso's father. Designed the Death Star, but knew what the Empire was doing was wrong with this basically starship.
A space station that could kill planets.
And send it to people who know what they're doing. Also, I don't know how well you can see that. Come on. But
about the same length.
Oh, it's cut off just below or above the knee. So right at about knee level.
Yeah, right about there. Okay.
So, yeah, about half his legs.
But yeah, a very important factor of all of this is big figures in the Empire.
Mhm.
Like you have Jyn Erso's father.
Krennic.
Yeah, you have Thrawn with originally being at the start a very slow and warming up to everything in a better view, and then as he went through his time with the Empire, it started to show that he was a very
I don't want to say cruel because I feel like that's not quite the right word.
malicious,
Yes, malicious. Yeah.
a very malicious character. He had good intents for the Empire, nobody else.
Yeah. It's
Another
kind of like my Chiss character that I made for our one-off that
Mhm.
we ran the other day.
Yeah.
He would do my basically the way I played it was my Chiss, my character is going to do whatever he needs to do to make him safe. Doesn't care about anybody else. He just wants to keep himself safe. So if I have to put other people in danger to keep me safe, that's what I'm going to do. And did I end up trying to shoot a Jedi? Yes, I did. Did it go well? Objectively, I didn't die, so I mean, hey.
Objectively. Also, I forgot last podcast when I was talking about Holdo's sacrifice, I said Hondo.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
apologize for all the listeners and viewers for saying that. We were on the topic of Hondo earlier in that episode, but yeah. But anyway,
I
back to
realized
this
that
topic.
when he said that, and I thought about it for a second.
I listened to the podcast and I'm like, that's not right. Anyway,
You gotta make mistakes.
but yeah, it really all depended on the perspective, point of view, etc. That kind of deal
Yeah, so like if
for
you were to take Thrawn or Krennic and look at it through their eyes, they see the Empire as good. They see
Mhm.
it as it's strengthening the galaxy and it's making everything wonderful. Then you go to say Lothal and go look through it through some farmer. I don't know. I'm just trying to come up with something here. And they see the Empire as this person who's oppressive and trying to take away their rights and taxing the hell out of them. I mean, so it all depends on what perspective you're looking at it through.
Mhm.
And then you have the Mandalorians. Very, very, very interesting culture.
Also, important notice for you. My father has informed me that you should have the Vizsla sigil on your armor somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Make it someone like the Mandos where it blends in with the armor but has that definition to it.
Okay.
Otherwise, my father would see your character as not Vizsla and as a disgrace to your clan, etc., etc.
Got it. Okay.
That's very important.
Right.
It doesn't have to be seen at nighttime, but anyway,
Yeah.
moving on. Um, something else that we could do a what if on.
Um, what if Clan Vizsla, speaking of Clan Vizsla, what if they didn't side with the Empire? Can you imagine how different how different Mandalore would be?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
I
it
mean,
would it, it would be
completely different because you wouldn't have any Imperial affiliated Mandalorian clans. I mean, everybody would be
mm-hmm.
be gone, die, die, die.
They'd be very defensive over their planet, but
Oh yeah,
because they sided with the Empire and they started to become not so good of an asset, the Empire decided, yeah, screw them. But yeah, um, yeah, we don't talk about that.
no, yeah.
Anyway, um, that's a very good question because it really all depends on what led to Clan Vizsla siding with the Empire.
Yeah, I'm not actually 100% sure about that.
because I haven't really read much into that specific thing.
Yeah, me neither.
But I think one of the big things was during the Clone Wars,
Mm-hmm.
there was
Maul.
little there was Maul, and there was also Vizsla and the Republic didn't really like each other.
And
With
Vizsla
the
kind of gave, I don't want to say gave birth, but like they kind of like offsprung into Death Watch.
there's a little teeter totter there because you have Bo-Katan
Right.
of Clan Reese. Did I say Reese?
You
That's the
said
wrong
Reese.
name.
But yeah, it's Christ, isn't it?
Kryze.
Yeah.
Kryze.
Yeah.
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 I was talking about something earlier with my dad, and I probably said Reese about Mandalorian somewhere in there. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah. Bo-Katan Kryze and Satine Kryze.
Mm-hmm. Satine wasn't part of Death Watch, so
Not Satine. No. Yeah. But she was an important part of it, though, because she was a sister of someone affiliated with Death Watch.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with that being said, Bo-Katan watched her own sister get killed by Maul.
Yeah.
Which was, and if you look at one of the episodes in season 7, Bo-Katan nags at Obi-Wan saying he was probably there when my sister was killed. Like, he was!
Mm-hmm.
He was wearing Mandalorian armor to conceal himself.
Mm-hmm. But Maul knew he was there.
Maul knew he was there. Maul didn't give a damn. He
Yes.
just.
Yeah, I mean.
What if Satine was not killed?
Yeah, what if Obi-Wan, like what we were talking about last time, what if Obi-Wan left the
Yeah.
Order? And
Yeah.
because he was
And,
on Mandalore, still had a lightsaber, Maul comes through, sees Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan's like, I cut your legs off. Bonk. Kills
well,
Maul.
it would be a lot longer than just a bonk, but still.
Well, yeah.
And then you also wouldn't have. You would have Obi-Wan Kenobi more strictly protecting Satine.
Mm-hmm.
And that would mean no pre-Vizsla on the throne.
Mm-hmm.
And sure, he still might have the dark saber, but he would have to fight someone to get to the throne because
Yeah.
Obi-Wan would practically be a personal bodyguard to Satine.
Mm-hmm.
And
My question is, if Obi-Wan and Satine got married, who would technically have the throne? Would it still be Satine, or would it be shared between the two?
it would probably be shared between the two because she is the Duchess of Mandalore,
Right.
not
Then
not
he
a
would become,
specific place,
right, because then
but
he'd become the
all of
judge.
Mandalore. He would become like the ruler or the Dutch, something like that.
So then
And if he
Maul
had
would have
control,
to fight Obi-Wan again
hmm
to win Mandalore.
and Obi-Wan being Obi-Wan, he would probably use his lightsaber and the dark saber if you think about it, because his form is perfect with one and perfect with two lightsabers.
Mm-hmm.
Because Soresu is very easy to use two lightsabers with, and it's a practically unbreakable defense.
Unless you let that defense down, like he did.
Unless you just let it down and then go for the high ground, like Obi-Wan always does.
Also, did you see the new rule for SW5E?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Did you like what my comment on it was?
It's the high ground rule.
It's literally the high ground rule. So basically, in regular D&D 5th edition, there's no like advantage for height, like if you're above a character or not.
There is, but there isn't.
Yeah,
it's
more of
loose.
it's homegrown more. Well, Star Wars 5th edition, the SW5E decided we're gonna make it an actual rule.
A high ground.
And the second I saw it, and the second I read it, I realized, oh my god, it's
It
the high ground rule.
It posted, and I put it off until I saw you post your comment. I'm like,
I
yeah.
mean, I'm not wrong.
But yeah.
But yeah, back to the whole Maul and
Yeah. what would happen in that fight? Because it would have been
Obi-Wan would have won easily, hands
he
down.
would have,
He's in his
but
prime.
but Savage Opress was also there for when Maul challenged Pre Vizsla.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be an important part there.
Right.
But
But still, at that
Maul,
point, you can only have a one-on-one. That's just
yeah,
Mandalorian culture.
mm, but Maul would not challenge Obi-Wan. He would go against Obi-Wan in a blind rage
Mm-hmm.
because he hates Obi-Wan with a passion.
Yeah.
He
Obviously,
he
God,
wouldn't
no
think,
way!
yeah, he wouldn't think first to go for a challenge. He would see Obi-Wan, think he's still part of the Order or something, because when you're practically living by yourself or with your brother and trying not to die in space,
Yeah.
you're not going to hear a lot.
No. Unless Obi-Wan was still wearing, if Obi-Wan was wearing the Mandalorian armor, Maul might have not recognized him. Maybe.
But
But the whole
force presence also important, though.
Yeah.
You
But then that
can.
also raises another question. After leaving the Order, would Obi-Wan shut himself off from the Force?
I wouldn't think so, because
Yeah, I mean, I don't either, but it's just
after the Clone Wars, there was no more Jedi Order,
yeah, no.
and he never pushed himself away from the Force like that. Yes, he hadn't used it for a long time, but he didn't push himself away from it. He meditated with it. He kept his mind on it.
Mm-hmm.
And he always, like his last fight with Maul, for instance, that was very important to note. It's very important to note. The Force uses focus, and the focus uses the Force. That kind of deal. It's like a balance point. Obi-Wan engaged in the battle, even though it was only like 5 seconds,
Mm-hmm.
but still. He also never really. He only kept his eyes on Maul. He knew what Maul was going to do.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, so I would back to the topic. If he left the Order, went to Mandalore, there would have definitely been connection to the Force still, but it probably wouldn't be as strong like it was after the Clone Wars.
No.
But what would happen if after the Clone Wars
Mm-hmm.
with Obi-Wan, if he was on Mandalore with Satine? Like, Satine would not be dead. Obi-Wan would be dissociated from the Council. The Council would eventually fall, probably much faster if Obi-Wan had left the Order,
Mm-hmm.
because Anakin's influence is important in that.
Right. Because guess what? Then Anakin loses his brother. I mean, then who's he gonna turn to? Mace? I mean, Mace isn't gonna do shit.
Not a good role model, and also Chancellor Palpatine probably would have had a much better target at that specific time.
Yeah, 100%.
So it's really all dependent on.
There's multiple
There's multiple things that could happen. There's multiple things that could happen.
Yeah, and like if Maul doesn't win in this Obi-Wan fight, guess what? The entire the Mandalorian, the TV show, that probably would never happen.
Probably
One
not.
crazy thing I want to point out is if you look in season 7 for like at like previous on stuff, they have the spikes on their helmets, you know, that kind of represent the Dathomirian, like this how they have spikes on their heads. Well, go look back at season 1 and look at the armorer's helmet. It has spikes on it.
Yeah.
Go look back at season 1. Go look and see who rescued young Ganjarin. Look at their armor colors. Look at their shoulders. Who are they? Death Watch.
Yeah.
Putting it out there. I mean, that's why one thing in the Mandalorian just doesn't quite click with me is if he was rescued by Death Watch, who has that distinguishable armor.
Mm-hmm.
How did he not recognize the armor again when Bo-Katan and the two other Mandos came out of nowhere? Like, I mean,
It was it was probably a little dissociation because of the Death Watch or Mandalorian and Empire dispute. So they had to change their armor to make it look like that they weren't Death Watch.
Right.
But also, why did Bo-Katan associate herself with Jaren when he associates with Death Watch? Because Bo-Katan dissociated from Death Watch because of A, her sister dying, B, Maul, and 3, the Empire kind of blasting Mandalore.
Well, I mean, I don't think she took him as complete Death Watch.
That is true.
Because, I mean, look at his armor. I mean, it's completely different. His mindset is completely different.
Yeah, and the Death Watch kind of changed over years.
Yeah,
because Clone Wars Death Watch could without any issues take off their helmet in public. That kind of deal. Where did the helmet stay on come in?
Well, we don't know. That's what always confused me about season 1 was like, why is he so intent on keeping his helmet on when in every other form of Star Wars medium that we've seen a Mandalorian, they take their helmet off.
Exactly.
Like,
another important thing is,
I kind of wonder if it was a callback to OT with Boba Fett always having his helmet on. You never see him with his helmet off.
Probably. There's also another important thing. Yes, Din Djarin is a foundling, and why did he just? Because once you have a foundling, you watch over them like they're your own child. You don't let them go, and that kind of big deal.
Right.
Why did he not go with Luke?
You know, I think it's because his mission was to find a Jedi and bring Grogu to its own kind. So the Jedi.
Yes, but Grogu is a foundling in the sense because a Mandalorian found him, and the Mandalorian pretty much took him under his wing.
But I don't.
Very controversial thing right there.
Yeah, but you also got to remember, Mandalorians are for the most part human, right?
Yes, most part.
Can you imagine trying to make Beskar armor to fit Grogu?
It wouldn't be that hard. You just put little ear holes into the helmet.
Yeah, I mean, how uncomfortable that would be to stick your ears through holes like that. I mean,
anyway,
don't get me wrong. I completely understand where you're coming from. I do think that it's a really good thing to point out. But at the same time, his mission was to find someone of its own kind and bring it to them and have him be trained by them, because that's what it was. He wasn't quite, he was a foundling, but he wasn't like, he is, but he isn't. He was under the protection of, he wasn't a foundling, but he was under the protection of the Mandalorian. If that makes sense.
What if IG-11 did kill Grogu?
Well, then the Mandalorian wouldn't really quite be a show, and you'd have a bunch of fangirls crying their eyes out.
Yes, but it would still be a show, but it wouldn't be the funny show it is.
No, not at all.
It would have a different story, that's for sure.
Yeah.
There would be a lot less.
That could be way more dark.
It would be a little bit darker. Let's not go into that topic though, because I don't want to think of a dead Grogu.
No, I don't either.
Now, I'm fascinated to see what's going to happen next season.
Yeah, me too.
We'll put that off into another episode.
Yeah, I think just putting this out there, but Boba Fett comes out Christmas of this year. And then I think the next season of, like the actual next season of the Mandalorian comes out the year after. Yeah, next year. So I think it's supposed to release Q1 or Q2 of 2022, which is unfortunate. But the thing you got to remember, they're using a lot of technology to make these really freaking cool sets. It takes a lot of time to set up.
I love that most of their sets are just giant screens.
Yeah, it literally, like, they use Unreal Engine to make their sets. Like, who would have
Yeah.
thought to use that? Like, I mean, like, I have a VR headset, and I would have never thought that I could put my VR headset on if I could somehow find the file that they used and go be literally on the set
Right?
VR because it doesn't
You know
actually
why?
exist.
Good old John Favreau and Taika Waititi are wonderful at what they do.
Yeah, no,
with
they're absolutely
with some
phenomenal.
influence
My
from
opinion, they are hands down two of the best directors in the planet.
Filoni. That's
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you have Favreau. Uh, wow, blinking on the name.
Taika Waititi,
Thank you. Um,
also known as Korg in Thor Ragnarok.
yeah, I was about to say he's Korg, isn't he?
Yeah,
I actually just watched that movie the other day. It was
he's also Hitler in Jojo Rabbit.
really?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. I didn't know that.
He is Jojo's imaginary friend.
And on that note, we are going to end.
Not trying to say that as a bad thing.
Yeah, no, having imaginary
Not trying.
friends is totally fine, right, John? Mm-hmm. Yeah, he says it's fine.
Cool.
Good.
But yeah, it's. But yeah, Clone Wars and Mandalorian would be much different if Filoni did not do any of it.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the moral of the story. Let Filoni control Star Wars.
Let Filoni control pre-Empire and post-Empire.
Yes, 100%.
Anywho, we keep getting off topic.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a whole lot. There's so much more we can talk about with the what ifs, and we don't have all night.
yeah, no, we don't have a whole lot of time left, so
Yeah, it's 8:05.
yeah.
We're trying to keep this episode nice and short, so nothing bad really
It's
happens.
an hour and a half long, like last episode.
Well, that really all tumbled downhill when
Oh,
I
yeah.
started making car noises. I'm not gonna do that again.
Yeah, let's not.
But yeah. Oh, excuse me.
Bless you.
But yeah, I mean, it really all like these are just our own, or this is our own theories that we have made. Like they could have been made by other people and that kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
But these are just theories. They're not actual. They didn't actually happen in the universe.
No.
They're also just like, could this have happened? That kind of deal. And most of it could have. Some of it probably not.
Yeah. So if you're watching this on YouTube, or if you're listening to this on any of the places the podcast is available, you can either if you're watching it on YouTube, comment down below with any theories you want us to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd be more than happy to. If you're watching this if you're listening to this and you're not actually watching the video itself, go just join the Discord or find us on YouTube. Everything has the same name. It's not going to be hard to find.
Yeah.
And I understand if you don't have an account or anything like that, or join the Discord.
Yeah, join the Discord.
Join the Discord. We're trying to keep it alive somewhat. I mean,
yeah, and we should absolutely make a theories section.
Yes, theories, like a theory section or recommendations to talk about section.
Absolutely.
If you're into anything like that, I'll get working on that tonight if you want me to.
Also,
or if you want to do it, you can do it.
I mean, I wish I could bring up pictures of the stuff that I have made for the campaign.
Campaign. No, let's
S. I don't want to bring spoilers, but I do at the same time.
For me or anybody that's watching, please.
True. But some of the stuff that I've shown you for another idea, that's okay for you. But yeah, for another time, what should we talk about next time? We should absolutely plan what we should.
We should talk about lightsabers next time.
Lightsabers? Okay.
Yeah, let's do it like a lightsabers recommendation guide. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah. That'll
Because
be next
I've
episode.
bought lightsabers from 3 different places, and I know Alex has bought it from.
I just bought my second lightsaber actually today. Rebel sabers.
Oh, okay,
It's
so same
it's
place you
gonna
got that one.
it's the same thing as this one.
Ah, okay.
It's just gonna be able to hook together
Double
and
blade.
become a staff.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah, I bought from 3 different people. So
But yeah. Yeah.
I also got scammed once, but we'll leave that for the next episode.
Yeah. But yeah. Anyway.
I got my money back though, thankfully.
Nice.
Yeah.
But yeah. Thank you everybody for listening
Thank
or
you.
watching or whatever you do. And again, I'm Alex. That's Jarrett. And we'll see you in the next episode of Star Wars Union, the podcast.